the champion within.
What's going on? It is that time of year again. I'm Cecily Webb. I'm going to be your guys' host of the High School Football Scoreboard show this season. I'm so excited to be joined with Baylin Trujillo and AJ Brooks this season. We're going to talk so much high school football. I'm excited. Episode 1 of 2026. We got so much to talk about. Preseason, we haven't even kick-started the season. We got the Kickoff Classic coming this week. We'll talk about that later, but let's start with media days. AJ, you were there for both days. A long weekend. Hope you got some rest after the weekend. Let's talk about day one. We had Seminole, Lake, Volusia, Flagler. What were some of your biggest takeaways from day one?
Day one, some of my biggest takeaways, D-Land should have been in day one, but whatever. But D-Land obviously is a team that's going to be a formidable force this season, I believe. Spruce Creek was a team that I think is going to surprise a lot of folks. They always have a quality team. Mainland, I think they're coming around the corner. The Mainland of old that we're used to. I think that they're here. Those are the three teams that stuck out to me the most. I mean, obviously, Lake Mary. Don't let me forget Lake Mary. Excuse me. Lake Mary, obviously, everyone wants to see how they will be post Noah Grubbs. We got a glimpse, Baylin and myself, at the spring game against Jones. And with the new additions that they received this summer, I think Lake Mary going to be all right.
And then go ahead, Baylin, maybe if you want to talk about that spring game, what were some of your takeaways from that as well?
Yeah, I mean, just like AJ alluded to, everybody's wondering who's going to take over from Noah Grubbs. Lake Mary was blessed to have him for 4 years straight. And now it was my job as a quarterback trainer to help Coach Perry, Coach Donnelly, who I believe is arguably the best offensive-minded group collectively, to get him a quarterback. And I went on the hunt, found him a kid named Remy Jarman, which most of you guys will hear about throughout this season. It's really cool. There's an opportunity of a documentary going to follow both Remy and Jackson Stecker from Lake Brantley. They're going to follow them every game and kind of do a little documentary series with that. And I'm really cool to be a part of that. But yeah, Remy Jarman was probably the highlight for me in that Jones spring game, just because everybody wanted to see how he was going to perform. It was the first time that he was actually the guy. Now, he did start about 2 or 3 games last year for Edgewater with Carter dealing with some injuries and stuff like that. But, you know, this was the first time he was in a big setting. And I really commend both Lake Mary and Jones for playing each other, because, one, we've never seen that happen. We've never seen them go head-to-head. They were the two outstanding teams last year representing in the state championship game. And so it's really cool. Usually spring games, kickoff classic games, people hide from competition. They just kind of want to feel their players out, see who they got coming back, new roles for certain key positions. But those guys went head-to-head, arguably 2 of the best teams in Central Florida. And Remy really was, honestly, AJ, I don't know what your thoughts are, other than maybe Peyton's second half, was the star of the show in that spring game. Remy was. So, you know, just excited to see the excitement of Lake Mary and having a quarterback come in right behind Noah, who's going to be another Division I talent. I think that was really exciting stuff for Lake Mary and what they have moving forward. And then, like AJ just alluded to, I wasn't there for media days, but I do know some of the key pieces that went over to Lake Mary, which would be one of our storylines. I think they're sitting pretty comfortably right now.
And then obviously looking into day 2, we had Orange County and Osceola County. What were some of the biggest things you took from day 2?
Day 2, man. I don't want to get into the storylines too early, but obviously Evans, you look at what they have been able to do since Coach Odom has been the head coach. I can't even say since last year. So since Coach Odom has been the head coach of Evans High School, they have been making tremendous strides to become one of the top dogs in Central Florida. I believe that they're there. The additions that they have made over the last few weeks are even crazier after the media day. So that's just that's something. But then obviously you have Jones High School, who has played in back-to-back state championships. Everyone wants to see how they will be this year with a sophomore quarterback leading the charge. All of the pieces around them are still there. Defensive line might be the best defensive line and arguably one of the best in the country, and that's no exaggeration. And then you have other storylines that we'll get into, but Jones, Evans, to me, that's the cream of the crop right now in Central Florida.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Media Days was great. It was my first Media Day. It was so much fun to be part of that. Got to hear from so many coaches and teams and hear about all these storylines. So I'm excited to get right into it. So let's start off with TFA. They've had a lot of key transfers that they lost. Baylin, you want to kind of talk on that?
Yeah, so we're not going to disregard, obviously, the name TFA. That has been a hot topic the last, I would say, 3-4 years. I think with respect to what's happening at TFA, I think Jeff Conaway has done a phenomenal job of really keeping everything in-house, really making sure those kids are locked in at that program. They've had a lot of distractions with suspensions and game cancellations and rescheduling, trying to find games, traveling across America, putting on a national schedule the last couple of years. So TFA, I mean, they jumped into this thing pretty hot and heavy. I mean, when they first started, they were beating teams in the area that nobody thought they'd have a chance with. It got really popular really fast. And then, some people, turned them in and unfortunately got investigated and had a couple seasons that didn't count. And then last year, they had a pretty good season. But honestly, TFA was trending really fast. But as we see now, it's almost like they hit a pinnacle and now they're kind of going downwards. They're now I wouldn't say reloading, but almost rebuilding. They have a lot of young talent, a lot of really, really, really good young talent. Starts with the quarterback position. They have a kid that hasn't even technically reached high school yet with varsity experience as their starting quarterback this year as a freshman. The kid's phenomenal. Got to really first time meeting him in the QB shootout in the summer. And the kid's just a really good kid. Got a really good presence about him. I'm excited about what he's going to do this year. But with that being said, he loses arguably the number one piece that TFA had that made them very intriguing this year with their schedule, and that was Brian Dillard. Obviously, you have David Coleman who left. That was another big key loss of a transfer. They lost an offensive lineman to Lake Nona. There's just so many different pieces. They lost a lot of good graduating talent that's now playing Division I football. And so with that being said, I do not believe TFA is who we think they are or the standard that they have lived up to because of key transfers. Brian Dill was a big part of that. He scored arguably every touchdown in the spring game that made them competitive against DeLand. He is no longer there. In my opinion, AJ, I know we all have opinions here. Brian Dillon's the best athlete in Central Florida, period, bar none. It's not even close. I'm going to be honest with you. The way he impacts the game both defensively, offensively, special teams. He can play quarterback, DB, receiver. Every time the ball's in his hands, he's electric. We saw that at West Orange. I think he took it to another level at TFA, especially in the spring game. He has now elevated himself to being that guy. And so with that being said, TFA, with the schedule like, I'm going to go over some names. Lakeland, IMG, Port Charlotte, West Boca, Edgewater, ACS, Archbishop, Southlake. You're talking about big-time programs. The Southlake is now their district title game. And so we're talking 7 games of the 10 games are big-time opponents. And when you don't have Brian Dillard, David Coleman, the offensive lineman, even Taj Anderson that went to West Orange, like you're losing very important pieces to a puzzle that they thought they figured out. Now they have to refine the pieces to ultimately build this thing. Now in the next couple of years, if these guys stay together, like I mentioned, they got a lot of promising 8th, 9th, and 10th graders. They will be back to what we expect them to be. But with this national schedule, AJ, I don't know what your thoughts are. I just don't see where they're really going to be competitive by losing a Brian Dillard and a David Coleman.
I mean, if we're going to keep it a buck, let's keep it a buck. Okay, so with the whole TFA movement, it all started when TFA beat Edgewater. When TFA beat Edgewater, that just started something that we didn't know was going to happen. TFA has been very successful in the last 3 to 4 years. The people in the program are very supportive of it. People outside of the program, they weren't a big fan of the TFA movement. They were not convinced that the TFA movement was something that was going to be long lasting, so to speak. They knew that all of the players that were there for those years, they were top heavy. There were a lot of juniors, a lot of seniors. What's going to happen when they have to reload with the year like this year? So it was already a little skepticism going into this season because they lost a lot of key pieces. They lost the whole defensive line last year that's playing college football. You lose a All-American safety that's in Oregon. Those all pieces were coming into the year that we had questions about. Now you lose Brian Dillard, who I do believe is one of the most explosive athletes in the country, not just to minimize him in the state of Florida or Central Florida, but Dillard is that boy. Dillard, he's special. He's different. He did what he did at West Orange. I was like, man, he good, but I'm sold. Dillard is the best offensive weapon in Central Florida. He goes over to Evans now. That just makes Evans even better, creates more storylines for TFA. I wouldn't be surprised if TFA went 3-7 with all the distractions around them. At the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if they went 7-3 because they have been somewhat resilient this year. I guess I'm lying about the second one. I would be surprised if they went 7-3. I wouldn't be as surprised, but I'm not sure what TFA going to look like this year.
One thing I do know about TFA, though, guys, they have really good coaching. They have really elite coaching. So I know with good coaching, you're going to put your players in positions to make plays. It's up to those players to make those plays. And they're looking at some of the top schools in the whole entire state and nationally. We're going to find out real quickly where TFA stands with those guys. People got to step up. So we're going to find out. And Bam is obviously who he is. He's an elite player. But it's going to take a team to come through this schedule.
Yeah, one dude ain't beating that schedule.
Absolutely, guys. And AJ, you brought up Evans, one of those teams who has the talent. And on paper, they look like that championship team. Kind of talk about what you're seeing coming into this season from them and what kind of some of your expectations about them are going to be.
Well, in the immediate Central Florida area, you would have to say that Will Jackson is clear-cut the best senior quarterback out there. He transferred in from Camden. They get Grant Alford, offensive coordinator, who, if you know Grant Alford, he is an offensive genius. So just to think of what he'll be able to do with the athletes that he has at Evans, not to minimize the athletes at Lake Mineola, but it's just levels to it. So you give him Power 4, explosive athletes here in Orange County. You talk about some of the other pieces that they got in, Chunky on the D-line. You talk about James Campbell, Big Soup on the offensive line, RJ at linebacker, Davion at running back, Demir at receiver, Demir Williams. That's a name that y'all gonna remember all year. We talk about Brian Dillard. Brian Dillard's gonna have a great season, but it's another guy over there. He was the first 1,000-yard receiver in Marion County history since 2003. So when you talk about production like that, you can't double Brian Dillard because you have another 1,000-yard receiver. Alex Rossi came over from Edgewater. You always got Michi. Michi ain't going nowhere. Bo's there. Like they just got pieces, and you add a quality offensive coordinator like Grant Alford, man, Evans is scary.
Baylin, do you have anything to add?
Oh, I have a lot to add here. So, Evans High School, okay? This is the only thing that I'm going to say negative about them. I never lost them at Oak Ridge, so I'm undefeated against Evans. But other than that, okay, I take pride in that. I'm going to be honest, man. I think AJ said a comment in Media Day that I've said before on this show that got me in trouble with a specific program. I don't care because I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing, but we're going to take it back to the Olympia days when I called them paper champions because they had arguably the best roster and lost to Dr. Phillips, a team they beat by 30 a couple weeks prior to their loss in the playoff game. AJ alluded to that in a similar way at Media Day called paper champions. Evans, this is the year. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. Last year, they beat Jones. They beat Lake Mary. Both, by the way, on the road. And they still had nothing to show for it. No district championship and no playoff win. So, again, looking historically, Evans had a great year last year, but there's nothing to show for it other than bragging rights over those two programs, which, by the way, both went to state and one actually won state. So I'd rather have a ring than lose to a team in the area. Like, that's what it is, or represent our city. Now, with that being said, Evans High School, loaded. I mean, I've been covering Jones a lot. A lot of people may call me biased. I don't care because I played under Coach Elijah Williams. He is arguably the best person in my life other than my dad and now obviously my wife and my kids. But the most impact in my life, Elijah Williams made on me in my 1 year at Oak Ridge back in 2010. And that I will cherish that man for the rest of my life. And I'm sure other coaches watching this show, if you've had players that you've impacted, I'm sure they connect with you guys from now until for the rest of their life. You know, when it comes to everything that we do in our lives, we always go to our head coach who made the most impact. And that for me was Elijah Williams. That's not going to change. But Jones backs it up because every time I call them to win, they usually win. Other than last year, Evans, I know they had their little rant on social media after they beat them. Great job to you guys. But again, Evans High School is absolutely loaded. They have arguably the best roster in Central Florida. They've had the most transfers in Central Florida. And we're not just talking about transfers that are filling in spots. We're talking about elite players like the guys we just mentioned in Brian Dillard, David Coleman. You know, the list goes on. William Jackson, phenom, freak, right? Quarterback, right? Looks like Cam Newton. Guys, I'm just telling you right now, Evans needs to win it this year. Now, I'm not talking about state. Now, I hope they do win state, but I'm talking about district championship. Run the city, be the best team in the area. The key thing for me, AJ, and you alluded to it, the number one piece that Evans added, other than obviously all the players, Grant Alford. He is the difference in this year than they've ever had. They've always had elite talent. No one's ever questioned Evans in talent. No one. I think they hit the home run with their head coach hire. I think that's an awesome. He does really good for the community. He brings everybody in. He actually brought me in one time just to work out their quarterbacks to hopefully give them opportunities to go to college. He's doing it the right way. Grant Alford is the separator here. He is why I'm excited about Evans and why I think Evans will not only win district, they will win every game by an average of 30-plus points. Like, I'm talking about win average. I'm not talking about how much they're going to score. I think it's going to be an onslaught this year. Now, there's going to be good games that we're going to talk about.
You got St. Augustine and Jones. No disrespect to Southgate and anybody else. Those are the toughest two games, St. Augustine and Jones.
Do they play Edgewater? I don't know. Do they? No.
Yeah, they do Edgewater, but I just don't know if they're going to struggle with Edgewater.
Exactly. So, anyways, this is going to be fun to watch Evans. They're actually, they're going to win district. I'm going to call it right now.
They're winning district.
Yeah, they're winning district. They're going to win playoff games. I really hope they are the team we talk about at the end of this because I believe Evans has all the right pieces. If they can't do it this year, AJ, I don't believe they ever will. I'm going to be honest with you. Look at every position. This is a crazy take, but dude, you got everything. You got the quarterback, you got receivers, you got DBs, you got a D-line, you got a head coach, and you got an offensive coordinator. Put them all together. What are we missing here? So I love Evans. I'm going to be covering them obviously this year. I love William Jackson.
Down there.
And I'm excited for Evans. I just hope they don't let themselves down by the hype. The only thing that I worry about, AJ, is camaraderie. How can you make everybody happy in that room?
Nah, that's a family over there, bro.
Yeah, it's exciting, but then again, everybody over there are elite talent. They're going to want their piece of the pie. So I'm really curious to see how that is. But again, Grant Alford does a really good job of doing that. And so, hey, it's going to be fun, man. I'm excited for the Trojan show.
Well, Baylin, I mean, you talk about this year being the year for this team. What do you think gives you the confidence to say that? What pieces of this team, of the coaching staff, need to happen for this team to make it to that point?
I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, guys. What position do I work with the most? Quarterbacks. I think that Evans has missed having a true effective quarterback. They've had good quarterbacks, but now you have William Jackson, who AJ just said is the best quarterback right now in Central Florida. He's number one, right? So if we are saying that, I've seen him work. I've trained him for the last 3 years, and Grant Alford has worked tremendously with him over the last 3-4 years. He has so much knowledge at that position. He also was under Coach Elijah Williams for a little bit. He was also at Winter Park. He's learned some stuff there. He's got so many tools in that toolbox, right? So now Evans has William Jackson, who is a Power 4 Division I commit at Maryland, those of you that don't know. So he's the real deal. So you add him with Grant Alford at Evans, who is already loaded with talent. Then you add Brian Dillard. Then you add a David Coleman. Then you add, a couple offensive linemen or defensive linemen. You add some guys from Jones, that we can mention. Guys, they have the complete package. They've already been great defensively. Now you, again, add Grant Alford. It's over. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, man. They have the tools to do it. Again, AJ, we said it. Don't be paper champions. Go play. And I think they have the coaching staff that can get these guys focused to do it.
All right, guys, I love all the thoughts. We have so much more coming up. We're going to take a quick commercial breaks. Don't go anywhere. We have more storylines. We have top kickoff classic games coming up this week. So we'll take a short break right here.
Whether you're looking to lace up your cleats or cheer your favorite player on from the stands, in Orlando North, you get to choose your own adventure. With something new to explore around every corner, you can get that game-winning feeling on and off the field. Turn your tournament weekend into something more. Plan your next visit at playorlandonorth.com.
Take a break and enjoy the sounds of Portillo's.
Order number 9. It's your time to dine.
Portillo.
When athletes play hard, you can see the hit, but can you see the injury?
At Hope Assurance Testing, we offer baseline and post-injury concussion testing to help identify neurofunctional changes after a head injury. Our testing measures brain performance through brain activity, vision, balance, and autonomic testing. Schedule your athlete's testing today. Hope Assurance Testing. Protect the brain behind the game.
Welcome back to the High School Football Scoreboard Show. Cecily Webb joined with Baylin and AJ. Guys, we have so much more to talk about. We've just begun. I mean, week 1 hasn't even begun, but let's hop right into Jones talking about a team that has a lot of skill, a lot of talent. Baylin, you want to kind of talk on this team, the talent that they have coming into the season? You're muted.
Muted, dog.
Sorry, man. I'm getting excited here. So, I think Jones High School, as we know, they've been Final Four state championship 4 years in a row. They've won they've won a lot of games. It's just they've been the most consistent team in Orlando. It's not even been close over the last decade since Coach Williams has taken over. This year, I thought they would have to rebuild. I thought last year, in my opinion, covering Jones a lot, that was their best chance to win a state championship. But then I'm starting to see the pieces come together for this team. They have a young quarterback in Peyton Carroll, who obviously I trained. I'm excited about him and taking over Darion, who honestly was the best quarterback Coach Williams ever had. That includes me, so I'm humble enough to say that. But he is arguably and is the best quarterback he's ever had, point none. And he's had every quarterback he's ever coached was Division I, all of them. So I'm very excited about Peyton, his growth and where he's been. He's about 6'1", 6'2", 190 right now, dual threat. He really grew up in the second half of that Lake Mary game. First half, I was kind of like, wow, maybe it's too big right now. He's got to get experience. And then he settled down. He played within the system. He did what he was coached to do, kept the ball inbounds, and was able to have a phenomenal second half against Lake Mary. Jones, the big storyline here, defensive line. We know that most games in high school, if not all games, especially in the state championship or at least the playoffs, are won in the trenches. You can't hide from that. Jones' D-line is the best in Central Florida, if not the state, and AJ alluded to it, top 10 in the country. You have 5 kids going Division I. So 5 kids from this point moving forward after this season will be playing, 4 of them Power 4, 1 at Bethune-Cookman. I'm telling you right now, it is absolutely insane what depth that Jones has at defensive line that Coach Billy Daniels gets to coach this year, and they've never had this. So we're talking UCF, West Virginia, Syracuse, who are Boston College, just some of these schools that they have right now on the defensive line that were transfers. These guys didn't just pop up. Texas A&M, right? I mean, it's unbelievable what these guys have over at Jones High School defensive line. I think that's a storyline right now. Obviously, Peyton Carroll taking over Darion Coleman. That's going to be something to look out for. But when you have Tooley on the outside, right, that's a kid coming back from an ACL last year or a meniscus tear. He's coming back full go. He's about 6'4", arguably probably going to be the best receiver when it comes down to it in his class in the area. On the other side, AJ, who do they have? They have the kid that they moved from DB, Number 0.
Glover, Antoine Glover.
Antoine Glover, also a mismatch. He's 6'2", 6'3", long, rangy kid. Then, I know AJ's favorite player, and he's probably going to talk about him, DC, right? Not Darion Coleman, but you got another Coleman over there that could make a lot of noise. Who just transferred from Lake Cal. He might be the X factor. Not going to say too much because a lot of teams in the area probably aren't going to prepare for him when they see those other 2 freaks outside. But you better be careful because you got one that's at Jones that just transferred there. That's going to be something special, and I'll let AJ talk a little bit more about his take on him because I know he's a big part of this whole piece with that. But I think Jones is perfectly set up to where they are. I think with Lake Wales being in the district still, Vanguard, I still think Jones is the better team. I think they're better coaching, right? So I think overall, I do find themselves at least back in the Final Four, if not competing for a state championship. It's all going to really base off the run game, what they can do in the run game, and also how Peyton Carroll carries that offense because the defense is going to give them opportunities just from that defensive line in general. So I'm really excited about Jones, and as you know, I'll be covering a lot of their games.
And AJ, do you want to go ahead and
Yeah, I mean, we talk about Jones. We know that Jones right now is the gold standard in Central Florida. The only thing that Coach Williams is missing is a state championship. He's been there a couple times, several times, just never won the big game. But he sends kids to school every year, which is the most important thing for him and his staff. Peyton, obviously, first-year starter. I think he's going to be a national recruit when it's all said and done. But this will be his first year starting, so we don't know what we'll get from him. I think it'll be a lot of good things. Coach Will offense is I've never seen a quarterback not produce in the offense. Peyton he has all of the tools, all of the intangibles to compete at a high level. So I think he'll do fine. The defensive line obviously is loaded. And then you talk about Glover. I think Antoine Glover is going to be a key piece for them this year. This young man, last year, he was just coming back from an ACL injury himself. So he was just a shell of himself, if I be 100% honest with you. He's wearing number 0 this year. He's about 6'2", 6'2.5", big target on the outside. You talk about Thule, 6'4" on the other side. And then you talk about the secret weapon, DC. DC about 6 foot, 6'1", 195, 190 pounds, benches over 300 pounds, runs a sub 10.6 in the 100. So you can't double team Thule. You can't double team Twan. You can't. I mean, it's just. I think Jones is going to have a great year. The only team that I don't worry about Vanguard. No disrespect to Vanguard, but Vanguard ain't never beat Jones, and I don't think it's going to start this year. It's Lake Wales. Lake Wales quarterback. He's a year older. This will be his second year starting. I think his name is Kingston. He the truth. And then they got Black. Everybody know Purdy. Purdy is a man-child. He's committed to UCF. But they got more weapons over there. They got Deuce, who's committed to Tulane. So Lake Wales is the team that I see that could potentially stop Jones from winning the district championship. But I mean, Jones, it's just crazy to say that they won't win the district, but Lake Wales is legit. So,
yep, that young gun's got to see that D-line.
Go ahead.
No, I said that young gun's got to see that D-line. That's for sure.
Yeah, everybody got to see that D-line.
Well, guys, let's move on to Lake Mary. Obviously, a team that's really hot. There's so much to talk about within them. I mean, Baylin, do you want to go ahead and just talk about maybe some of the transfers they've had 4 Edgewater transfers this season. You want to kind of start with that?
Yeah, so like I capitalized earlier in the show about Remy and the excitement that he brings to Lake Mary. I'm excited to see what he's going to do. Matter of fact, they play tomorrow, so I know that's going to be a big storyline later in the show when we talk about our top 8 games. But it's a funny thing because every time I talk to Remy, I guess they started a group chat literally called the Lake Mary Eagles. So they've got arguably the best players from Edgewater to come to Lake Mary. Remy Jarman, Kell, who I think is the most underrated receiver in the entire Central Florida. If you were talking about DC, nobody knowing and preparing, wait till you see this kid Kell actually play football. He was the one caught one of the biggest plays in Edgewater's spring game against Seminole down the sideline. So he's an addition. And then obviously we all know Cole Emanuel. I think that was the biggest addition to Lake Mary this summer. Nobody knew what his next move was going to be. That was a shocker to everyone because not only did he not mention it, nobody put it on social media. Still to this day, I can guarantee you some people may still think he's at Edgewater, but he is at Lake Mary. That was a massive, massive addition to Lake Mary in that offense for Coach Donnelly. So again, and then they also have another receiver that went with Remy in the spring. And so that's 4 that I know of. I don't know many more. I know Remy has really good relationships with these guys. I'm sure there was a lot of communication between those guys and throwing the ball. I mean, Donnelly wants to throw the ball 30 to 45 times a game. If you're a receiver, you're licking your chops. Brian did so when he left Orange City to come to Lake Mary. Right, receivers are now trending to where they're going to be showcased. Evans, right, with Coach Alford, they're going to light it up. Same thing with Donnelly. He has not gone away from that offense. They want to throw the football and hit you vertically. So if you are a receiver and you know that, you're probably trying to at least entertain the thought of going to Lake Mary, which is what Cole Emanuel did and Kel did. And so I'm excited to see what Lake Mary looks like. Again, they were very competitive against Jones. They kicked almost a 50-yarder to even tie the game in the spring game, which shows their special teams is still solid. Defensively, we're going to see they missed a lot of pieces. They have a couple guys coming back, so I'm really excited to see what this Lake Mary team does. They have the target, right? They are the state champion in their classification in the entire state of Florida. So people are going to watch what Lake Mary does, and I'm excited because I think pressure makes diamonds. I know Remy and who he is. He loves the pressure, just like he had in the spring game against Jones. He lit it up. I know Donnelly and Coach Perry have been in the biggest moments. They've been there for 20-plus years with Coach Marler. I don't think they're going to miss a beat. I think they're going to be well coached. They honestly have the most coaching staff in probably Central Florida. They have over 30 coaches on the sideline every game. I think every kid's going to be in position to make plays. If they do it, they do it at a high level, we'll see them back competing for not only district, which I think they should win. They're the favorite, but also competing again for a Final Four berth in the state championship. So we'll see how this whole thing plays out. But with the addition of those Edgewater Eagles on the offensive side, particularly Kel and Cole Emanuel with Remy, this offense should look dang near the same, if not, crazy to say, better than the last couple of years at Lake Mary.
AJ, what's your take on that?
Yeah, my take on that is Coach Perry is a legend. He'll go down as a legend of Lake Mary football. Coach Donnelly, I think that he is one of those offensive coordinators in Central Florida who I have seen do work, man. That man, he knows how to call up some plays. He knows how to coach this team up. So I'm a believer in the Lake Mary. Then we talk about the pieces that they added. You talk about Kel. Kel is so underrated. He just could not stay healthy last year for Edgewater, and I think he would have helped them out tremendously. This 7-on-7 circuit last season, Kel killed the circuit. He made some plays against my team, and I said, damn, the boy could play. But when we talk about Cole Emanuel, Cole was on my team. I know Cole very well. Cole is an efficient route runner. He catches everything. He's a quiet assassin. He's a rock star. Cole, that boy. So I know that was very, very good piece of pickup for Lake Mary. But more than anyone, I think TJ benefits from this all because if you went to the spring game, TJ seemed to be the best running back and the best receiver. Well, now TJ can focus on playing running back because he got some real-life receivers now. And I think that's going to help Lake Mary as a whole. Shout out to Aaron Young, BTMG client. That young man on the defensive line is going to have a great season. So, I'm a believer in Lake Mary. They're going to be there at the end of the day.
Yeah, and then moving on, we have Ugali and just a team that has a lot of talent. Baylin, you look excited to talk about this team. Why don't you just go ahead and take it away?
I'm excited because I know AJ Brooks internally is excited. This was a team that we talked about last year and even this year as a potential threat to win a state championship. The one thing O'Galley missed last year, and yes, they had a phenomenal replacement, I believe an Oregon commit, who played quarterback after Joseph Allen went down after 2 plays in their first game. That was the difference for me. If Joseph Allen, and I'm going to make this very clear, if Joseph Allen, I'm not saying they would have won the state championship, they would have at least went there if Joseph Allen would have stayed healthy the entire year. The way, just watching those 2 plays alone in that game showed me enough to know Joseph is in complete control. He looked very athletic. He made a play on the move when he got hurt. He made a move where he almost scored a touchdown. Honestly, I got mad because he should have trucked the kid or at least dived into the end zone. But anyways, he tried to cut back. Unfortunately, it was not a good thing. But I'm just glad he's back. O'Galley has their quarterback. He's committed to Townsend, Division I guy. Joseph Allen is the key piece for O'Galley with a loaded roster. Don't be surprised if we don't talk about this team every single week this season. They are going to be our team that I think could make a crazy and serious run with the amount of talent that O'Galley has. And in that area, I honestly think they're the best team in that area, and they're going to show it because Joseph Allen's going to have a crazy senior year, and those athletes are going to have a quarterback to distribute the ball and get those guys a space. I just think this is a recipe for success, and A.J. Brooks loves Joseph Allen, so I'm going to hand it over to him real quick.
Hey, man, you know how I feel about my boy Joe and EG. Damn, I just love EG, man. And you talking about you think they the best team in that area, man? Who else?
We're gonna get to that in a second, AJ.
We can get to it right now. EG is hands down the best team in the area, and anybody that otherwise they are crazy. You talk about Joseph Allen. We ain't gonna talk about Zay Hawkins, who transferred over from Cocoa. Quindo, he coming on back home to Brevard County from Miami. Tate Johnson, he gonna have a great season. You got Lucas. Lucas is you talk about a route runner. Lucas will chop you up. We ain't gonna talk about Gabe, 5-star linebacker, number one outside linebacker in his class. We look at Captain Road. That's a 6'3" cornerback, a legit 6'3" cornerback who they will put on offense to get some jump balls. And then we talk about X-Man. You talk about Corbin. I don't care what nobody say. Corbin is the most physically imposing. What is he? 2029 running back athlete. The kid had 1,700 yards all-purpose last year as a freshman. Now he gets his quarterback Joseph Allen back. EG, the truth, bro. It ain't too many teams in the state, in the area that I feel have more talent than EG. The only thing that I question is the line. Is the line on the offensive side going to be able to hold up so that Joe could get all his boys the ball? And the defensive line, will they cause enough havoc to help the fellas on the back end? If the O-line and the D-line do their part, they got the skill players where they can play with anybody and they'll make a Final Four run for sure. Book it.
Well, it sounds like we have some exciting matchups, some exciting things to see with these teams. I mean, we haven't really even seen any games from these teams, any performances from these teams. So it's going to be really excited. But want to move on talking about Windermere, talking about their tough schedule that they have this season.
So I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I forgot about Troy. Man, they got Big Troy at tight end. Do you know what Troy is the problems that Troy is finna cause to have a true tight end in high school football? And Troy used to be a quarterback, so you know they say quarterbacks got the best hands because they catch the ball every play. Troy, his route running this summer has gotten better. Man, EG gonna be a problem, man. That's all I can say.
Hey, Troy is still a quarterback in my eyes.
We're
not even going to go on that because I still look at him like the kid that I was trying to mold into the next big Cocoa star, and he ends up switching positions and going and committing to Florida State. Congratulations on that. I know that was his dream school. He still should be a Hurricane because they gave you an opportunity first. So remember those that loved you first.
It ain't over yet. It ain't over.
But that's a whole different conversation. Actually, the Gators, I think, were the first out of no, Miami was. Let's be clear. So anyways, but I mean, I know you want to go to Windermere, but I want to go back to AJ's little point. Let's talk about it then. Okay, Kevin Vermeil, who absolutely blew up this offseason, became a 4-star in Rivals. Absolute dude. You turn this kid's tape on, the wow factor screams everywhere. We're going to hopefully see that matchup between O'Galley and Merritt Island. Here's the thing, though. Merritt Island has an opportunity to do something they haven't done in 30-plus years, AJ, and that's beat Cocoa, and they have them week 1. You best believe I'm going to that football game. I got to see my boy Kevin, who's now a USF Bull. Go Bulls. He was formerly committed to Pittsburgh. They did a little switcheroo with guys that I train with. James Perrone, who gets to see Jones this Friday at Miami Central, flips to Pittsburgh. He was originally committed to USF. He's going to Pitt. Kevin was at Pitt. Now he's going to USF. So a little weird dynamic there. I promise I had nothing to do with that. That was their decisions. But I was just the man in the middle trying to communicate. But anyways, Merritt Island, that is the only team that I see in that area that can give O'Galley any type of problems. I know Titusville's trending in the right way. They have a quarterback in Remy.
They ain't got enough.
But they don't have enough. They have Harvey. That kid's an absolute
Tank.
unit.
Yeah, Tank. He might
Harvey,
be he's the truth though.
I'm
But
be honest with you. Again, don't sugarcoat nothing. Surprised he still stayed there when he had probably options. But he stayed because he's probably bled through the blue. So he's going to stay with his family and do what he did there. So I respect that. But he's a dude. But other than that, man, Merritt Island and O'Galley are the two best teams in that area. I do believe O'Galley, on paper, are the better football team. They have to play each other at some point. Then you have the other topic, MCC, the little fly on the wall that's watching everything, that has the opportunity to make some noise, right? You have Snyder and Franco going to MCC. You brought in Trent Washington, who was at Cocoa. Now he's the quarterback over there. They have a schedule where they can make some noise pretty quickly. Again, they do have to go through some powerhouses in the playoffs. That's a whole different conversation. But I think MCC might be a team that's kind of benefiting from being out of the limelight, but are going to start winning games because of the legendary coach they have. What's Cocoa going to do? That's what I want to know. I think that's the question. They lost a lot of players. They got a quarterback in KC that just transferred from Connecticut. I think he's a special talent that I started working with recently. So they got that gem that nobody really knows about. But what does Cocoa do? Because right now it's O'Galley and Merritt Island.
Look, this is how it work out, bro. And Merritt Island, I apologize. I said it ain't even close. It's close, but I still give EG the nod. You know, I just think that Merritt Island can compete with them, but I think that EG is the better team. Kev, obviously, he played quarterback for 5-star, my 707 team. Kev, the truth. Can't take nothing away from Kev. Eli Mitchell, transfer from Rockledge to Merritt Island. That is the key piece for Merritt Island, in my opinion, for their offense. That gives Kev another weapon. When you mentioned MCC, if I be honest, MCC gonna turn into like the TFA of Brevard County. Like it costs too much to go to school there. Like I don't believe that they'll get just like TFA. When TFA, I just said I don't think it'll last because I don't think they'll get the best kids in the inner city to go to TFA. I don't think the best kids in Brevard County are going to go to Melbourne Central Catholic. So right now, that's where I stand. Obviously, they could prove me wrong. Cocoa, it will be fine. I think that they'll rebuild. But right now, EG, they're the man in the middle right now, and Merritt Island they're the next guy up. But I think Cocoa will be fine, and for the simple fact that when you look at youth football, anytime that I see any noise out of Brevard County, it's coming from Cocoa Youth Football League or Rockledge Youth Football League. So I think Cocoa will be all right.
All right. I love it. Well, let's now move on to Windermere, talk about their tough schedule we have. AJ, do you want to go ahead and take that? Talking about this season for them.
Who we talking about right now?
Windermere.
20 straight, AJ. 20 straight.
Listen, man, Windermere. Read the schedule for me, Baylin.
All right, so look. Windermere was my sleeper team. Ricky did not like that I would promote them on the show because he wanted to stay under the radar. But I'm sorry, Ricky, it's hard to do that when you're beating everyone by 40 points in that independent league. You can't hide, my guy. You were the best team. You had a Florida commit. You had multiple Division I talents. You had a Division I quarterback in Jack, who's at Morehead State. You're not hiding from nobody, Ricky. You just didn't want more pressure for the schedule and all that. You were beating everybody by 40. The same type of energy I'm giving you during that time is the same energy we're giving Evans right now with their schedule. They should be winning those games by 40 plus like you did in your first 2 years in this independent league. Now, with the respect of what you've done at that program, you are now obviously the most winningest coach in Windermere history, Mr. Ricky Smith, my guy. You have 2 championship titles in the independent league. Now they go to a playoff system. You decided to stay in independent, but the most respectful thing you did, Mr. Smith, Coach Smith, the man, Ricky himself, you scheduled literally the hardest independent schedule that I can even come up with, because you are literally saying we have FHSAA talent and a schedule that respects that. We're just going to go dominate this league that we've been doing, but we're going to show you that we're respected in the city. And I love that about what you guys did this year. Windermere has to play Edgewater, Dr. Phillips, St. Cloud, Olympia, and a couple other, FHSAA classification teams other than the independent league that they have to play to seat them in a playoff, which they should be the number one team. I believe they are the number one ranked team. They haven't lost a game in independent. They're 20-0, straight like that. They have another addition quarterback, Gianni Rodriguez, who's going to be a junior. I'm excited about his sophomore, junior. I'm just really excited about his development, where he stands, where he's going to take this program, what Ricky's doing. He still has multiple. That offensive line he has is unreal, which is going to put them in position to win some of these games. Don't let him win Dr. Phillips. He might get a statue in front of Windermere if that ever happens. But AJ, you asked me to talk about their schedule. I just named their toughest opponents. Other than that, they got teams like Innovation, LBV, again, Horizon, teams that they're going to absolutely should win those games. Again, Edgewater, Dr. Phillips, St. Cloud, and Olympia are the teams that stand out to me.
Hey, man, I mean, I know what Windermere did the past few years, and respect to them. My only question is why they not in the regular district then? Why? Like, if they that good, play with the big boys. Like, if we gonna be 100, but when we talk about their schedule, Winter Park, Edgewater, Wakava, Olympia, St. Cloud, Dr. Phillips. All right, so when I look at this schedule, all I see is them playing a lot of teams from the west side of Orlando. They might be at the bottom of the barrel, but they still on the west side of Orlando. So will they have enough talent to go and beat Wakava? Will they have enough talent to beat Dr. Phillips? Enough talent to beat Edgewater? Then you talk about Innovation. Innovation got 20-some transfers that came with Lynch once OCP closed the doors down on. So, like, this is a tough schedule, but they definitely have produced over the last couple years. They had the fastest kid in the state. So, they dominated. So, I just want to see what happens when they do play these real,
Don't let it. Now, I will tell you this.
Now, this bulletin board material for them boys, they're going to say, Brooks, now, look, believe in us. Like, I'm just saying.
Look at this. Well, I'll say this, though. He strategically placed these teams at the right year to do it, because a lot of these powerhouse teams that we are naming aren't at the top of the game right now. So
yeah, but it's still a step up in the ball game. It's like, and it's no disrespect, because football, any given day, any team can win.
But I would argue to say in most of these games, Windermere is the favorite.
I mean, St. Cloud ain't no cupcake.
St. Cloud is,
and they got to go to St. Cloud. They got to go to Edgewater. Like, they could get Edgewater could punish them, like literally punish them.
Yes, I'm just talking about the strength of schedule. I'm not saying they're going to win those games. What I am saying, though, they're going to be favored against Olympia. I would say they have a good chance of beating Dr. Phillips. They're going to be in a dogfight.
You favoring them against Olympia?
I said they could be favored. I'm not saying that we are. We have to wait till we get to that week. We don't see where they're trending, but. Ricky's got a good thing going over there. But again,
Ricky got a good thing going.
What I'm saying is I'm just excited because they're now playing teams that can give them more respect, because they have literally dominated the independent league, and it's not even close. Now, Innovation gave them a good game last year, still didn't beat them. So it's interesting. But yeah, Innovation is also another team that you got to watch for in that independent league. Sure.
I just want them to be in the same district as Olympia, so that we could see those Olympia, Dr. Phillips,
Windermere,
I want to see those cross city.
It's coming.
All right, guys, I know you could keep going. We're going to take a break. We'll come back and we'll talk top 8 Kickoff Classic games. Don't go anywhere. We'll take a break. You're watching Varsity Sports Nation.
In the world of sports, every move counts. Every decision shapes your future.
At Influencer Council, we understand the importance of making the right choices and having wise counsel. Our team specializes in legal counsel, ensuring every contract is airtight and every deal is in your best interest.
In this new world, financial responsibility is even more important than ever before. We ensure our clients understand this new responsibility and educate them on how to navigate it properly. Taxation obligations, investment opportunities, and purchasing assistance can mean the difference in their short-term and long-term success.
Our branding specialists work tirelessly to build and elevate your personal brand, making sure you stand out on and off the field. Join Influencer Council and maximize your opportunities. Legal, financial, branding, legacy. Your future starts here.
We all have an it, the reason we try harder, the drive that makes us carry through. Whatever your it may be, affordable tuition and flexible class schedules at Seminole State College can help you earn a certificate, associate, or the only Bachelor of Science in Construction that's available in Central Florida. The time is now. Go for you. Go for a new career. Go for it at Seminole State. Go State. Go far. Apply today at seminolestate.edu.
There are two types of people in this world. Those who got the sauce and those who need a little help finding it. Now you're probably thinking, how do I get this sauce? Well, see, I got my sauce. You got your sauce. Maybe it's sweet, maybe it's spicy, maybe it's 12 different flavors all tossed together, but you know it when you see it. So the question is, who's got the sauce?
Zaxby's. Zaxby's got the sauce.
I don't think he was talking to you.
Oh.
Who's got the sauce?
Zaxby's.
Welcome back to the High School Football Scoreboard Show. We're going to get into the Kickoff Classic game predictions, but before we do that, Baylin, do you have any final thoughts going into the season? Muted again.
Muted, dog.
Sorry, I'm just gathering my thoughts, screaming and during these commercial breaks about what we talk about in these debates. But anyways, I want to just mention like a sleeper team, a couple teams that we think that are trending in the right way. I know Lake Nona and Coach Aubrey, what he's doing at Lake Nona is very awesome. They're trending in the right way with some transfers, key transfers, especially with Elijah Nickerson at quarterback, Sebastian Oralora, freak of nature, got offensive lineman from TFA, also St. Cloud. I think they're going to make some noise, which they have to see each other, which is obviously a good thing. I want to see what Apopka does this year with Kai Goodling at quarterback. He's a freshman. We're going to see how that plays out. Can they come back? Dr. Phillips. What do they look like with Coach Walls? Seminole, we're going to get to see Lake Nona Seminole this Friday night, a game that I might be at. It's going to be very intriguing to see where Seminole is and what they're doing, as well as, Osceola. No one's really talking about Osceola. Are they in a rebuild? Are they still reloading? They look pretty good against Windermere in the kickoff or the spring game. So where do they stand? So these are some great questions I think we have to ask ourselves. But I think the sleeper team, it's crazy. I made this take 10 years ago on this show when I said Masters Academy was going to be the sleeper team that year, and they ended up going undefeated with Ty Poorman and those boys. They went on to win state. This year, Coach Jermel Jones at Orangewood Christian is going to be the sleeper team that nobody is talking about that is going to make a statement this year. I'm calling it on the record. Day Adams, a quarterback there. They got Tanner Downs, a quarterback over there. They got a couple different transfers. They won their spring game in a blowout fashion in Jacksonville. Coach Jermel Jones has something special going on that nobody's talking about. Obviously, I have a good relationship with these guys. Orangewood Christian is going to be my sleeper team this year, AJ.
Hey, man, you got it, man. You got it. I don't know what to say, man. I really don't know what to say. I thought you was going to come with some heat, but no, Orangewood, straight up, it is what it is. But I just like to end the segment before we get in the top 8 games or whatnot. I just like to bring up 2 guys in the Central Florida area who are national recruits, AJ Chung and Taj Moore at D-Land. Both of those young fellas are tremendous athletes. They're both tremendous young men. And right now they're both going through a difficult time in their life. AJ, his mother passed away a couple weeks ago. So that's a struggle that as a quarterback and a leader that he's been dealing with. I know I reached out to him the day after it happened, and he missed my call. And when he called me back, he said, "Hey, Coach, I'm sorry, I missed your call. I was at the team workout." And I just thought to myself, like, man, AJ is just probably the most mature kid that I've ever met. Like, and I'm not even exaggerating. So my heart goes out to him and his family. And I just pray for peace with him and his family. Every time I see a sunset now, I think about his mom. But then at the same time, you got Tage, who's a terrific running back at D-Land. His father just passed away 2 days ago, if I'm not mistaken. So to deal with such a heavy burden a couple days, a couple weeks before their football season, it's a lot to deal with. So I know off the field, football players, we have a lot to deal with. Mental health is important, and just want to tell those guys I love y'all. We're rooting for y'all, and keep y'all heads up and best of luck this year.
Yeah, man, that's tough to talk about because I always think about the memories that I had with AJ's mom and just the years. Man, I did a camp in the summer to really honor her, and I brought her in front of all the players, and I talked about her in front of all the players, and I didn't realize that was the last camp she'd ever go to, and she's been part of AJ's journey ever since I started training him in second grade. Like, he was so young, and she took him to everything, and that was one of the most heartbreaking texts I've ever got. I was in Mexico when I got the text, and I was devastated. So I just, prayers to AJ and his family, and AJ is a solid dude, man. Solid as it gets. So I love him. I love his family. Love Kaiway. Love his aunt, who's my wife's parents' neighbor. So just shout out to them. And obviously Taj Moore and his family are close to me. And so just prayers, man, to just never forget, guys, who you play for, and cherish every day with your family.
Yeah. My bad, y'all. I'm sorry, y'all. Yeah.
Man, you threw me for a loop there.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, y'all.
Well, thanks, AJ and Baylin, for bringing that up, and thoughts and prayers go to them. But now it's the time you guys have been looking forward to. We got the Kickoff Classic games of the week. We have Jones and Central Miami. AJ?
Hey, man, I love Jones, but I was born in Miami. I ain't no fool. This is going to be a tough Kickoff Classic, but I think that Coach Will strategically lines these games up so that his team is ready to make a postseason run. I'm gonna probably go with Miami at the crib on this one.
Yeah, I don't think Coach Will sets these games up. Obviously he wants to win, but in reality, he's setting it up for a bigger picture to see where he lines up right now going into this season. He knows this game means absolutely nothing. It's a great game. It only benefits Jones. Whether they lose or win, nobody thinks they're going to win. If they win, great. If they don't, but he's going to get to find out who his players are in that type of environment and how they respond to things. And so, I think for Peyton in his first game, technically as the starting quarterback for Jones, this is a massive opportunity. And then on the other side, I trained James Perrone, who's committed to Pitt, who's at Miami Central, a transfer from Southridge, an absolute unit. I do think Central wins this game, but I do think Jones is going to be more competitive than what people think because of that defensive line. And Coach Will doesn't get blown out, period.
There ain't going to be no blowout.
Yeah, he's going to out-coach Central, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to go their way.
All right, we got Buchholz at Lake Mary. Baylin?
Yeah, massive game. It's tomorrow night, guys, at Lake Mary. If you guys want to see this, Buchholz is no joke. That team is loaded with talent. I believe they beat Lakeland, or they beat someone good in the spring game. They showed that they can compete. Lake Mary, obviously, have the pieces. I'm going to favor Lake Mary here because of the transfers, and I do believe being at home and with that coaching staff, I'm back on that Lake Mary train, so I'm going with the Rams here.
Yeah, we talk about this Buchholz team. Buchholz has went to 4 consecutive Final Fours, if I'm not mistaken, 4 or 5. So this is a team that no one in the state really talks about. Dom Harvey, transfer wide receiver from Hawthorne, comes over. But I'm going with Lake Mary at the crib. Lake Mary home, nah, I'm going with Lake Mary.
You might see AJ and I at the game. Maybe.
Yeah, I'll be there.
All right, moving on. We have Evans at Wakula.
Blowout, mollywop, not even close.
Let's go, Trojans. Come on, Evans. Y'all my boys. Let's go.
It's the Alfred show, baby. Let's see it. I want to see 70 on Friday night. I know he's going to hide his tricks, though. He's smart. He ain't going to give it away.
All right, moving on. We have Apopka at West Orange. AJ?
I'm going with AJ. I trust AJ Brady, Udo, Sean. Y'all boys bring it home. I think Apopka isn't the same Apopka that we're used to, and West Orange will be my sleeper team of the year. I think West Orange, boy, man, Gino be doing something over there in West Orlando. So I'm gonna go with West Orange.
Yeah, I don't like that this rivalry is now a kickoff classic game. This should be a regular season game, but it is not for whatever the reason. West Orange will dominate this game. I like where Popka's trending, but AJ Chung, it's not close. He's going to be AJ's new Noah Grubbs in this area. He's going to ride that Brady train. AJ Chung, don't give me an angry AJ. What's happening right now? He's going to come out, and it's going to get ugly. Yeah, West Orange.
All right, we have Seminole at Lake Nona. Baylin?
Yeah, this is a game that I might go at. There's two games I'm looking at. It's gonna be a game that we're gonna talk about probably next. But Lake Nona Seminole, I'm very curious to see where Seminole stands. They got a couple of transfers in. They have King coming back at quarterback along with Daniel. That he just came from Spruce Creek, so there's a little quarterback competition there. On the other side, Lake Nona loaded with talent, got a bunch of transfers. Everybody's coming after Aubrey's head. Oh, doesn't matter. They're showing up on his campus. He's going to coach those guys hard. And for that reason, I think Lake Nona does win this football game. It's at Lake Nona, but I am very curious to see where Seminole stands and how they're going to look going into this season.
Did we just lose AJ?
Yeah, we got.
All right, moving on. We got Lake Brantley at Bishop Moore. Baylin?
Yeah, this is a game that I'm excited about. Two of the best 2028 quarterbacks in this area. There's a loaded talent of quarterbacks in that class. Jackson Stecker, I'm not going to bet against him, even though it's at Bishop Moore. The last time I voted for Bishop Moore to win at home, they lost bad to Lake Mary. I'm not going to make that same mistake twice. I love what Coach Kruzik's doing. They looked very impressive against Lake Wales in their spring game, a team that's also loaded with talent, which AJ alluded to. I'm going Lake Brantley to win this game, and Jackson Stecker, who just committed to Buffalo. Congratulations to Jackson Stecker on that Buffalo commit, a kid that I've trained since he was 9 years old. I'm not betting against guys that I train, so Lake Brantley for the win.
All right, moving on, we have Armwood at Edgewater.
Browning, respect you, man. Love you, bro. What you do with Edgewater in the last year and 2 years, you have taken over that program. I think you lost maybe one game so far in this area, and it's a playoff game. Armwood is that team. I think they are loaded. I do think Armwood wins this game, even though it's at Edgewater. I've heard stories of moving to the single wing. I don't really know, but Armwood is I think they're top 5 team in the entire state of Florida. They have a lot of returning productivity. For that reason, I'm going to pick Armwood, but I do want Edgewater to obviously win with James Cruz and what they got with Joe at quarter. I mean, whatever they got going on at Edgewater seems to be working. I just think that if we're going strictly predictions and not biased here, I think Armwood wins.
All right. Last, we have Jensen Beach at U Galley.
Yep. So I don't think this is close. O'Galley wins by a blowout. I think it gives Joe an opportunity to get comfortable in this offense. Again, he has not seen any game action since this time last year with the unfortunate torn ACL. So he is fully strength, full go. That team is absolutely loaded. This is AJ. AJ would go for this team too. His predictions here, he obviously would be going this way. So I think O'Galley wins in blowout fashion. It's not close.
Well, there it is. Those are our predictions. Baylin, do you have any final thoughts before we hop off here?
Look, I'm excited for every team. I'm excited to be back. This is now, I believe, my 10th or 11th year going into this show. I'm glad you are here. Welcome to this show. It's fun, right? And at the end of the day, we all have opinions. We all have things that we say. But at the end of the day, it's all about the kids. We want every kid to be successful. We obviously want every Central Florida team to win. These predictions get kind of crazy, but I love it. It brings attention to the show. It gives these kids something to use for bulletin board material, whatever that looks like. But at the end of the day, our hearts are always in the right place. We want everybody to be successful. There's no ill intent here. I want every coach in Central Florida to be great, just like along the state. I love every coach here. I don't have any ego. I train a lot of quarterbacks. It might look like I'm biased, whatever. I don't care what you guys think about that. I know where my heart is, and I'm just excited to get back into this crazy show and hopefully see a couple state championships.
Absolutely. Well, AJ's back.
AJ, it's so ironic
hopefully.
that he strategically goes out when we talk about an Edgewater prediction and an O'Galley prediction. He's nowhere to be found because he doesn't want to go against his two favorite teams. So
he's avoiding it again.
But again, as soon as I mentioned those two teams, he's deuced out. He's out.
All right. Well, that is all we have for today. Here he is.
AJ.
You missed
Edgewater,
out.
Armwood, go. I want to know your thoughts. You're going to be there. Oh, man. Delayed again?
My bad, man. My laptop died. Edgewater, I love Edgewater, but I'm gonna go with Armwood. I gotta go Armwood.
Oh, wow. Okay. I said the same thing.
Edgewater's just lost too much, man. Like, you can't run the wing T against Armwood. I got Armwood.
Oof.
All right. Well, there it is. We have an exciting week ahead. I'm so excited to be continuing talking high school football with you guys. We'll be back here next Wednesday night, 8 p.m. And you're watching Varsity Sports Nation.
Peace.
Varsity Sports Nation. Unleash the champion within.